And I'm not saying that Mando Grogu should be the full referendum on Dave Filoni's ability to chart this course. I'm simply pointing out the look of if you put him in the seat formally and then that movie happens to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
That's a funny first step out of the gate. Now, you could say they've seen the movie, they think it's amazing, and they're convinced this thing is going to be a massive hit. And maybe that's what they're saying with this release. But I think you and I would say that movie is not in the category of guaranteed
Certainly
high nine
not.
figures, $1 billion type property for the summer.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Gen Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me as always is Mr. Brian Schultz. The Void. Lots to discuss, but we're going to go through this quickly because these are some interesting things that we need to sort of address because these are the things that have been causing a little bit of buzz in terms of interesting things. Lucasfilms.
Mm-hmm.
Cue Jim Lampley.
It happened!
We'll talk about that. Sebastian Stan joins Batman 2. And this casting, Brian, brings, I would think the word would be credence to the Brad Pitt situation that was sort of rumored. I think they definitely reached out, but due to some of the things that I think you probably suggested, the name is too big, or he probably said, nah, I'm not interested. But they got Sebastian Stan joining Batman 2. Callum Turner, more updates on the possibility of him being the Bond of this next era with Denis Villeneuve directing. Tom Cruise directed a scene, a lightsaber scene, I believe, for Star Wars. Brian, this could be either good or really bad. We'll talk about that. Rip versus Crime 101, which looks more exciting. I'm more familiar with the title for Crime 101, but I think you have to fill me in on Rip.
Okay. This is a fun last one in the sort of what we're watching, not yet, but will be watching in the next month.
Yeah.
I think it's humorous. It's like similar genre, big names going head to head. Different. I was just curious. Yeah.
Let's get started. Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Finally has pulled the trigger or the right number popped up to say, you know what? I'm going to stop dangling the vote key in front of them and just be like, let me go on my merry way and do other things. Dave Filoni and who else? Because we thought it would probably be Favreau, but it seems like it's someone else, right?
Well, so first off, it's not official.
Oh my goodness.
In terms of the date. This is if you're looking for the, she's not out yet. This report is who they're going to name. When this is happening is still TBD.
Up in the air.
It's supposed to be within the next year, but as we know, Kathy Kennedy has, pulled the Palpatine multiple times already on this and cheated death. So, but no surprise in terms of that Dave Filoni would be the creative side of this. He is already the Lucasfilm chief creative officer. This is an internal succession. We had talked about the value maybe to Star Wars of looking outside, but they are staying internal. So Filoni is going to be the James Gunn of this operation, the creative side of this enterprise. And then Lin-Wyn Brennan, who is already the GM and president of the business end of Lucasfilm, will now be the co-CEO, but obviously will be the Peter Safran, the kind of the production side of it. Again, no official date. Has not yet been confirmed by Disney, but the report is, and it's from Puck, and Puck is usually on this. The announcement is coming, within the next few weeks.
Okay.
What do you think about? So the odds have always heavily favored Dave Filoni would be part of this next generation. Now, assuming it is official, Dave Filoni as the James Gunn of the Star Wars universe. How do you feel? Confidence, enthusiasm, anxiety-wise about that?
We've talked about it in the past and some of the stuff that we've seen from Dave Filoni in regards to his aesthetic and how it hasn't really given us a lot of excitement. There's been potential, but not in totality, like thumbs up in terms of him being the one to succeed, Kathleen Kennedy. And it comes down to, again, the same problem we have with James Gunn is the same problem we have with Filoni, to a lesser degree, obviously, I think. But this is more of the look and feel. I'm just excited for newness outside of Kathleen Kennedy's hand. Although she's given us Andor, she's given us a lot of, in terms of the bigger prospects in terms of the film. She hasn't had a lot of success there. So I'm interested in seeing the next mind that sort of curates the next era of Star Wars.
The timing of this is a little interesting to me because what if Mando and Grogu bombs? So you will name Dave Filoni officially the co-CEO of Lucasfilm, and then the first thing that would be basically his creation in terms of live action.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did a lot of animated, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
His live action creation goes to the big screen. Let's say it's a disappointment critically and commercially. Is there any chance Disney's going to walk this back? Like, to me, why wouldn't you wait until that movie hits to at least kind of see that? And then you could still put him in the chair either way. But, I mean, you've waited this long with Kathleen Kennedy. What's another few months?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Mando Grogu should be the full referendum on Dave Filoni's ability to chart this course. I'm simply pointing out the look of, if you put him in the seat formally and then that movie happens to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
That's a funny first step out of the gate. Now, you could say they've seen the movie, they think it's amazing, and they're convinced this thing is going to be a massive hit. And maybe that's what they're saying with this release. But I think you and I would say that movie is not in the category of guaranteed
Certainly
high nine
not.
figures, $1 billion type property for the summer.
Certainly not. But I would hope that they're talking from that place of we've seen it and we think it's dope. And this is the guy based on what we've seen. And that would be, I guess, promising. But if these are the same guys that approved Acolyte and some of the things that we didn't like, then it's like it's still a toss up as to whether this is going to work or not.
Yep.
But
Agreed.
We'll see.
I mean, I think areas that I would expect to improve would simply be the cleanliness of the operation, right? I think the later Kathleen Kennedy years became notorious for projects that were announced and went nowhere over and over and over again, right? We constantly were getting not just rumors, but confirmed reports. Patty Jenkins walking to the X-Wing fighter, Daisy Ridley on stage, like all of these projects that were promised that then died on the vine, never made it to screen, got shunted aside for another Skywalker film. Or it always felt like, it rarely felt like there was a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like with Dave Filoni, there will likely be a plan. As someone who has overseen Clone Wars and Rebels and now Mandalorian, like whatever else you think of it, there hasn't been that same degree of haphazard, we're all over the place doing willy-nilly type. There at least is like a thrust of here's what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I do feel like Star Wars will become a little more efficient from a vision standpoint, and that's probably a good thing. I think the question is going to be, in the case of like Mandalorian, for example, Filoni writes a bunch of those. He directs a number of the episodes himself. But some of the best episodes have not been directed by him, right? Some of the best episodes, it's Taika Waititi doing the season 1 finale. It's Favreau doing, I think, the premiere. Bryce Dallas Howard's done a couple of the really good episodes. It's like, so I think the question becomes, who's he going to work with, right? Who can he get, and will he accept their input? So it's like, let's say, now let's say we do move forward with Dawn of the Jedi. I want that to be a James Mangold film, if that makes sense. Now, Filoni can lend his canonical knowledge, which is unparalleled, to this. but I would rather see James Mangold's sensibilities in that movie than, hey, this is a Filoni movie that James Mangold has his name on, if that makes sense. Because that's where we say Filoni as a cinematic creator, that part is very much in doubt.
Yeah.
And in fairness, that's not fair to James Gunn to make that comparison, because with Guardians, with Superman, with James Gunn can do cinematic like that. When he got the role, he had already proven he could deliver a blockbuster, big screen entertainment.
Yes. But, before we move on to Sebastian Stan, James Gunn aesthetic visually is being used against him with regards to Supergirl in terms of the talk around it and the look of it. It's like people have had enough or not willing to give it a chance because it feels too similar.
Well, I'm in that camp of like, I found it a little bit, I guess I found it surprising a little bit is what my reaction was sort of, I don't, like I said, I don't think it's a knock on Gunn's own work. It's actually a credit to Guardians that we think of it that way. But I think it's more the question of him as collaborator. Did he leave enough room? He was out defending this the other day saying, no, this is really a Craig Gillespie movie. It really is. And I'm kind of like, if you have to say that, that's kind of not where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think we'll find out obviously in 5 months' time, but I think it's at least a little concerning that like visually it looks a lot like it was shot by James Gunn.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think with Filoni, it's like, let's find out in another one of these situations, albeit with a guy who is not really like a longtime film director, will he give the keys to people he works with and say, okay, your visual sensibilities within Star Wars are this, that looks great, let's go with that.
Yeah. Sebastian Stan joins Batman 2. Has it been confirmed who he's playing, Brian?
No, but it seems like there's a lot of Harvey Dent talk.
Yeah.
Like it seems very solid he's in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether he's Harvey Dent is still a little bit TBD, but that's the leading contender that I've seen on the internet about who he's playing.
How would you feel if it was one and done?
A little disappointed.
And this is a trilogy. Apparently, it could be a trilogy. I think that's the aim.
If Harvey Dent was in and out of this movie, similar to Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, a little disappointment.
I think his participation and him being Harvey Dent will be an interesting take because I'm interested in seeing his portrayal, his take, his approach on Harvey Dent. Will be interesting for me to see Sebastian Stan play. And I think the rumors of Brad Pitt was certainly true in terms of they were perhaps looking at him to be a part of it, and for whatever reason that didn't happen, and so you get the next guy, which is a good choice. I think Sebastian Stan is great, and for whatever reason I don't know, he's not Luke Skywalker. Is if I would be in that room, I'm like, guys, Sebastian Stan is Luke Skywalker. You want to stick around with Luke Skywalker? You bring Sebastian Stan, and you create that Jedi Academy, and you build your future from there.
Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
So first off, make no mistake, this is a get for Batman Part 2. This is a guy who was nominated for an Oscar for his work in The Apprentice. This is Sebastian Stan is of the Marvel stable has really blown up in the last couple of years. Like this is no longer, hey, this is a good supporting actor who people in the nerdverse know. This is now a guy, so getting him into this role, and let's not forget ScarJo got another Avenger. We've got her into this movie. Like the profile of cast in this movie only continues to improve, and so I'm excited. I mean, like his acting range is excellent. I'm excited to see what he does with his character. But like you said, am I disappointed in one and done? Yeah, I would be, because I feel like Harvey Dent has had a really tough time surviving in the Batman universe. If you think about dating back to Billy D. Williams, was supposed to be Two-Face at some point in the Burtonverse, and they wrote that character out. So he never made it past the first movie. And then, of course, Tommy Lee Jones does the campy version of Two-Face, and he's gone in one movie.
That would have been dope to see.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like then Aaron Eckhart, they get rid of him in one movie, and you're kind of like, I wouldn't mind if he's just Harvey Dent. He doesn't have to. Like look at in the Batman parts too. Reeves has plenty of places to go with villains. I don't think we need Two-Face. I would almost rather Harvey Dent be in the landscape. Let's see more of DA Harvey Dent. I think that's actually one of the things Dark Knight did well, is like some of his courtroom scenes where he does come across as dashing and charismatic. And like, do more of that, because we know where it ends up. We don't have to see the transformation right away.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for multi-film. Let him be, if he's going to be Two-Face, maybe save it for part 3 and let Sebastian Stan cook. By the way, you mentioned, the perfect Luke Skywalker. I saw another one and I was like, that actually could work too. You know how they're recasting Aragorn for that Hunt for Gollum Lord of the Rings movie? Yes. He's getting thrown around for that too. And I was like, that could also work. I love this. Sebastian Stan has become this, like, I can play these, I can disappear into these multiple iconic characters and everyone is like, thumbs up. Like, that's pretty rare for an actor to be able to do that.
Yeah. That is a good cast for him to do. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we leave Batman 2?
I just think it's funny, the Avengers formation that's going on in that movie all of a sudden. Like, who's next? Who's coming up?
Right?
Well, actually, the one thing before we leave it, this has led to, because of the shooting schedule, a lot of speculation as to whether Winter Soldier is on the RIP list for Doomsday. Because can he actually shoot all of these at once? We don't know the exact filming schedule, and his part may be small enough in Avengers that he can survive. But now there's more smoke that, like, maybe he's even looking to get out, like he wants to be done with Bucky, and that this is like a ticket somewhere else.
We shall see. Bond seems like it's getting closer to being cast. Callum Turner's name continues to pop up. I believe the article that I read, he's been telling everybody who can hear him. Like, hey, I got it. And I saw him in an interview and I was like, hey, this is not bad. This is I think this could be an interesting Bond. What is your thoughts on this?
No, the best part of this story is the story. This is why this is fun to talk about. Yeah. So yes, he's 35. He is British. He's I think he's 6'2". He does have a very British look to him. People will know what I mean when you see his face. Ironically, he's probably best known for playing American characters. So I've heard him more with his American accent than his natural British accent, but he definitely fits a lot of the boxes. I can see it, what they're looking at. No, but the funny part of the story is, so he was spotted on holiday. Of course, he's married to Dua Lipa. And they stayed in Jamaica at the GoldenEye Hotel, which is the former estate of Ian Fleming. So people were like, is that like a tell? Is that like, are they doing a nod? And then they said, Turner, quote, himself has been blabbing all over town. He's got the part. And everyone in his circle is talking about it. It's the worst kept secret going. And, quote, Dua is over the moon for Callum, and she's been saying she'd love to record the Bond theme, end quote. So they're pitching themselves as a package deal. You get the 007, and you get the song for the credits.
And it also says that Denis Villeneuve is thinking about Bond. He's starting to think, because I'm pretty sure nothing's being confirmed or without his say, right?
The not so fast, my friend moment after this story hit was that a story from World of Reels saying, quote, Turner has indeed caught the attention of Amazon and Villeneuve. Yes, he is due for a screen test in coming weeks, but no, he hasn't nabbed the role. Not even close, end quote.
Oh, wow. Not even close.
So
that's either they called him and be like, yo, shut up. And we're going to say this to keep you quiet, right?
I want somebody on like a handheld phone in a bar of like, there's Callum Turner sitting there being like, shaken, not stirred. Like, I just want to see this guy
practicing. Oh, snap. Oh, man. Tom Cruise directed, apparently, a scene for Star Wars Starfighter. I believe it was lightsaber scene.
Yes,
if I'm not
it
mistaken.
was.
A duel.
It was a water-based lightsaber fight.
Okay. He is either setting himself up to be, I guess, the god that he wants to be, or if.
By the way, this is official. This is not a rumor because Sean Levy is the one telling the story, the director. Yeah.
What is their relationship? Have they worked together?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
The story I would love to hear from that is how did that all turn? Did he just come up on set and be like, "Hey, I think you should do it this way. Give me the camera."
No, so he actually told the story to the New York Times. That's why I say this is not a rumor. This story is actually hilarious and as Cruise a story as I can imagine. So Sean Levy told the New York Times Tom Cruise showed up on the set of Star Wars Starfighter via helicopter last November. Okay. Now, of course, I'm in my mind. I'm like, did he jump out of the helicopter?
Like, Tom, where you? I was just coming from the store. I decided to stop.
The carton of milk, yeah. So Cruise was just there to watch as they were setting up a scene involving a lightsaber duel in the water. And Levy joked to Cruise that he should jump on one of the cameras. And I'm like, the second I was like, don't do it. Because you know what's next. Cruise took it very seriously, according to Levy, waded ankle deep into the muddy pond and took over the camera, ruined his shoes. And Levy says, now when you see the movie, you'll know that part was shot by Tom. How cool is that?
Wow.
So this was not at all intentional. It was completely spontaneous, but is the most Cruise thing because, look, he has Final Cut on Mission Impossible movies. We know that. This is a guy who, even when he works with Macquarie, this is a partnership of direction as much as it is performance. You can't joke around with this man about stuff like this.
Yeah,
you start joking about stunts, you start talking about action, you know what that guy's going to do. He's going to treat it like the seventh game of the NBA Finals.
He takes that work seriously, man.
I bet you it looks good. I mean, I really do. I know you could say like it goes either way, but like when it comes to action, set piece, and visualization, like I do trust Tom Cruise's eye at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool that Levy, from an ego standpoint, even though it was a joke, ran with it.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have a choice, but
because how you sound like, hey, Tom, I was just playing. You're like, you serious? What do you mean you were just playing? Tom Cruise doing this is and us being able to see what he did with a lightsaber duel is going to be a very interesting. I think is must see TV or must see cinema in the Star Wars world in terms of what he shot, how he shot it, and what this is going to look like. Because lightsaber scenes should be treated seriously based on what we've seen in the past. Because that's what they've been. They've been situations where people show up to see what that aspect of Star Wars looks like. So
that's why I think it'll be good, though. That's why I think it'll be good, because to me, it's like you're even though you could say Tom Cruise hasn't lived and breathed the Star Wars IP, this is where in some ways I think that's a good thing, because what he has lived and breathed is kinetic, furious action. Like the fight, some of the hand-to-hand in Mission Impossible movies is excellent. Like that's why I think this will be good, because he will treat it like one of those moments.
Yeah.
And he isn't bound by the baggage of decades of like, it's supposed to be this and it's supposed to be that. It's just like he comes at it like, this looks good. This looks real. It looks believable. What I think is interesting is I believe this is like the first official confirmation of the involvement of lightsabers and Jedi in this movie. We had heard, remember, there were reports that Gosling or the kid were Force sensitive, but I don't think that was actually like stated publicly. So Levy effectively just confirmed for you that the Force, lightsabers, Jedi, that's part of this movie. That I thought was also sort of like a very like, just kind of came and went. And I was like, oh, that's actually a notable statement that there's a water lightsaber duel in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any indication who's going to be wielding these lightsabers or no?
Like I said, there's been rumors both ways on the Gosling character. One rumor was that he was Force sensitive. The other is that he is not, and the kid is Force sensitive, and he's transporting the kid, Flynn Gray, to Rey's Jedi Academy. Remember, that's so we don't know. And the thing is, this quote doesn't tell you who's wielding the lightsabers in the water, right? So you don't know if it's Gosling, you don't know if it's Flynn Gray, Matt Smith, like you don't know. But presumably, if there's one person in this movie who is force sensitive, there's almost always another, right? There's almost always an evil and a villain who is. So anyway, yeah, I thought that was all interesting. But I will make note of this though. I mean, for sure, when we see this scene, I will be we'll certainly talk about it when it comes out in 27, what we think of this particular scene now.
Yeah. Rip versus Crime 101. Which looks more exciting, Brian? I think I saw a trailer for Crime 101. I don't know. You
texted me when you saw it because you went to see, I forget which movie we were. Was it Badlands?
I think it was Badlands.
Badlands, right? It was that he first started playing this in front of, and like you texted me, you're like, Crime 101 looks interesting.
Yeah. Who's in that? Who's in that
so
again?
That's the Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo,
yes,
Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, Nick Nolte crime film where Hemsworth seems like kind of like an anti-hero, like part thief but part do-gooder, almost like a Robin Hood style character. But I agree, that one looked like I'd heard nothing about it, and I was like, there's a lot of big names in here, and I'm like, this looks like a nice February watch potentially.
Yeah. And Rip.
So Rip is coming this week actually on Netflix, and that is a Joe Carnahan. He's a pretty serviceable action director, but has Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as sort of like corrupt cops stealing from some of their busts or whatever in Miami. I think it is almost similar, maybe similar like a Bad Boy, but like a serious cross between like the Bad Boys in Town is kind of what it looks like to me. But so that's coming in January. This one's coming in February. They're both in that sort of like not trying to be Heat, not trying to be The Departed, just sort of trying to be like enjoyable, smaller time crime action dramas. Okay. And that's why I was kind of curious. They're coming out, I think, one month apart. Which one are we going to think is better or we're more excited to watch? Sounds like you're in the Crime 101 camp.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Rip trailer yet, so I'll be
also
interested.
Looks good. I mean, those two, the chemistry. Also looks good.
Yeah.
Like Affleck from The Town, like he's believable as sort of like a shady but somewhat heroic. He does that actually pretty well.
And I don't know if I sent this to you. You sent this to me. There was an interview with Ben Affleck, and he was talking about his thoughts on filmmaking and how ideas tend to change up in certain situations, and the vision that you had for it gets away from you. And I think Ben Affleck being a part of anything, there comes a level of seriousness, especially for him at this age. And Matt Damon, who are, they're serious about filmmaking. And I don't think bad ideas tend to creep up in whatever they're making, or at least the serious level of creating the attempt at making something great in whatever genre, in whatever scope. I don't think is lost when those two guys work together. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what Rip is about.
I think it's interesting. One though went to stream on Netflix. This is as we're talking about, what's going on, right? This is a movie with stars that Netflix sent right to streaming. Amazon is the one behind Crime 101. They're choosing to put it in the theater. It's like, even though you could argue they're very much in the same neighborhood, I think, of type of movie. So
I think it makes sense based on Matt Damon's conversations he's had about movies making money.
I hear you, but that allowed for a bigger budget. But this is also a stacked cast. So it's Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Stephen Yeun, Teyana Taylor from One Battle After Another, Sasha Calle, Supergirl, Kyle Chandler, Nestor Carbonell. Like, this is a big cast for a streaming only movie, that's coming out in January. But
interesting.
Again, Netflix.
Yeah. So that is our Void show. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of the changes that are being made at Lucasfilms. Finally, there seems to be some movement into that actually happening. Sebastian Stan's turn as Two-Face. What is it going to be? Is it going to be Harvey Dent for the entirety of the film, and then perhaps a little tease at the end for the next iteration of Two-Face? Who knows? But we're really looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like. Callum Turner has been quieted, it seems. Like they told him, yo, stop talking. What are your thoughts on him being Bond? I know we talked about it in the past. What's up?
I'm just doing this in my mind. I'm like, he walks into the checks into the hotel. One name, Turner. Callum Turner.
He's practicing, yo. He's definitely practicing. I can see it. Tom Cruise directed a scene in Star Wars, a lightsaber duel, and the circumstances that led to that are very interesting. What that looks like will be certainly something that people will be talking about once it's said and done. And Rip versus Crime 101, which looks more exciting, I think. I haven't seen Rip. Crime 101 looks very interesting, but again, Rip starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, those two combos usually turn out good stuff. So, but that one is going to streaming. And Crime 101 from Amazon is going to the cinema. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see actually how the numbers turn out in that, right? Like, if Crime 101 makes a lot of money in the box office, will it turn then to Netflix? And when we see it and it's like a good movie, could this have made money in the theaters for this?
That's why I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's interesting.
But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think, and we'll see you next time on the Nerd Gen Report. If you haven't heard it anywhere else, you heard it here first on the Nerd Gen Report.